Laker Nation, if you think the Lakers can get back to competing for championships next year, hit that thumbs up icon and like this video, because on today's show, I'm going to give you one move that I think will help get the Lakers back to championship status. Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Coming your way on today's show, I'm going to explain why the Lakers should be all in on pursuing Kyle Lowry during NBA free agency. And the interest and the buzz between Lowry and the Lakers has been there for a while. It started leading up to the NBA trade deadline because, according to reports, we're talking from guys like Woj and Shams, the Lakers were seriously interested in Lowry leading up to the NBA trade deadline. And according to those reports, a possible trade would have involved KCP, Dennis Schroeder, and Talen Horton-Tucker going to Toronto in exchange for Kyle Lowry. But Rob Pelinka didn't want to include THT in that deal. That's why it didn't come to fruition. That is why it fell apart, and that's why Kyle Lowry didn't go from Toronto to Los Angeles. And I think in the grand scheme of things, the Lakers really missed an opportunity to bring in Lowry, who I still think at this point in his career at 35 years old, still one of the best point guards in the league. And I think in that first round series against the Phoenix Suns, once Anthony Davis went out, if you have a guy like Kyle Lowry on this roster, he would have helped you kind of escape that series, possibly winning it against the Suns, because the Lakers just didn't have enough firepower. Also, they had to rely way too much on Dennis Schroeder, and I think it's become more and more apparent that Dennis Schroeder isn't worth that 4-year, $84 million contract extension that the Lakers had offered him. And I'd take Kyle Lowry over Dennis Schroeder all day. Schroeder in that series was abysmal to me. You have Kyle Lowry on this roster, and I think he's better in all facets on the offensive end of the floor as well as defensively, and he kind of would have helped take the burden off of LeBron James in that series, because AD at times was the best and most valuable player on the Lakers. But when LeBron James is 36 years old, yes, he's the king for a reason, but he can't carry teams like he used to. I also think in terms of the Lakers' timeline to win, Lowry is an immediate win-now addition that helps you capitalize on the championship window in this current moment. I talk about LeBron James entering his, 19th year. He's going to be 37 years old later this year. You have to capitalize on him being still in his prime and compete for championships right now. You don't go for a younger option. You bring in Kyle Lowry, who's ready to win right now. So Lowry fits the current timeline for LeBron James, Anthony Davis, this current roster with Frank Vogel being the head coach, of trying to compete and go after another NBA championship. So the Lakers should be all in trying to pursue him in NBA free agency, and of course we're going to continue to break that down on today's show. Do you think the Lakers made a mistake not trading for Lowry at the NBA trade deadline? I made my opinion known. I'm going to go ahead and type my Y for yes. You can type your N for no if you disagree with me. As for Kyle Lowry's future, is he going to go back to the Toronto Raptors? You can make the argument he's the best player in the history of the franchise because he brought a championship back to Toronto. Vince Carter didn't. Tracy McGrady wasn't there for a long time, nor was Chris Bosh. Here's what Lowry had to say about returning to the North. To be honest with you, my family will be a major factor in this, and also money talks and years talk. Let's be real. I still have a lot more to give. I have a ton of basketball left in me. And if you watch him this past season in 46 games, he dealt with some nagging foot and toe injuries. I think Kyle Lowry is right in his assessment of himself, because he was really good this past year. Averaged more than 17 points per game, still dishing it out, more than 7 assists per. Shooting percentage, three-point percentage, still there, and really elite qualities. Kyle Lowry is still at 35 years old playing like an NBA All-Star, and I still think he does have a lot of gas left in the tank. What I like about Lowry right now, and I've loved him ever since coming out of Villanova, championship pedigree. He had some postseason demons. He was able to put those to rest, brought the Raptors that first NBA championship alongside Kawhi Leonard. He has leadership qualities. This is a guy who will hold people accountable, and he will let his work speak for itself. And those types of qualities are contagious around the locker room. We see the impact that LeBron James has had on the culture. That's the impact that Lowry had in Toronto. He's an assassin-like competitor as well, offensively and defensively. He will back down from nobody. And I speak about his defensive prowess. He has the ability, even at this juncture of his career, to line up and guard the opposing team's top point guards, and he doesn't back down from those challenges either. I love Kyle Lowry and just his competitive, assassin-like nature, and offensively, still a really good creator. He can knock down shots off the dribble. He can hit pull-ups. He can knock down spot-up threes as well. This is an elite offensive player who can kind of get it done all across the floor and do it consistently. And that's what Dennis Schroeder did not do for this Lakers team last year. So you talk about bang for your buck, Lowry much more worth it than Dennis Schroeder would be on the open market, even though Dennis Schroeder is in his late 20s and Kyle Lowry is in his mid-30s. Those leadership qualities. Want to harp on this once again, because when LeBron and AD were out, who was the leader for this team? They didn't have one. And you have to factor in that LeBron and AD are going to miss some games, whether that be because of injuries or load management. Lowry, he's always on the floor, but also a great leader. This is what Utah Watanabe had to say about Lowry and kind of his leadership qualities that he's able to possess, but also spread throughout the locker room and also be the floor general. I think he's the best leader I've ever had as a teammate. He's always teaching us. He's always talking. And that has been the case with Lowry throughout his career. I understand he's popped around to a couple of different organizations. He's been with the Raptors for a long time now, but he's always been a guy when you watch him, you're like, yo, that is a dude I don't want to play in pickup because he's always going to get after you. He's always going to piss you off, but also you'd love to rally around a guy like that. So given everything that I've said about Kyle Lowry, rate your level of interest in him and scale it from 1 to 10. This is your opportunity to get involved in the show. Rate your level of interest in Kyle Lowry in the comment section and scale it for me from 1 to 10. Today's Lakers report made possible thanks to our sportsbook partner at BetUS. If you go to chatsports.com/Lakers and enter the promo code Lakers125, you get a 125% deposit bonus, meaning if you deposit $100 in your account, you get $225 of basically free money, and you can lay some wagers down, and we're going to pop some up on your screen right now because I think some of these wagers are great and they have some great value. Odds to win the Eastern Conference. It's wide open right now with the injuries that the Nets have suffered. Nets still the favorites, though, -145. Sixers +325. Bucks at +350 after that disastrous blowing of a game last night in Game 5. Hawks +2,000, so 20-1 odds for the Hawks to win the East. I kind of like the value there. As for LeBron James winning the MVP next season, yes at +900, no at -3,000. Okay. How about where Damian Lillard is going to play next season? A lot of trade buzz, trade rumors there. We've covered it here on the Lakers report. Blazers odds have been improving vastly over the last couple of days. Blazers -200. Lakers +275. Knicks +650. Bucks +800. And the Heat at 8-1 odds as well. You can put money down on these bets by going to chatsports.com/Lakers and entering the promo code Lakers125. Why the Lakers might not be able to sign Kyle Lowry? They're cap strapped, very tight on cash heading into the 2021-2022 season. According to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, the salary cap in the NBA for next season going to be somewhere around $112 million. The tax, $136.5 million. As of right now, the Lakers have 5 guys guaranteed to be on the roster next season at $116.9 million. They have negative $9 million of cap space, and this past season with the Toronto Raptors, Kyle Lowry made $30 million. I'm not sure how much money he's going to demand and ask for on the open market. I'm not sure it gets up to $30 million, but the Lakers, no doubt, to bring a player like this in, going to have to be creative with their spending. I talk about those 5 guys under contract for next season. LeBron, north of $41 million. Anthony Davis, $35.3. KCP, $13 million. Kyle Kuzma at $13 million as well over the next couple of seasons. Marc Gasol at $2.5 million. I think he could be a possible cap casualty. Maybe a trade asset for the Lakers to kind of free up some money and free up some cap space. Kyle Kuzma signed that extension. He's on the books for $13 million over the next couple of seasons. If I'm Rob Pelinka and I need to free up cash to bring a player like Kyle Lowry in, I am looking for a trade partner to trade away Kyle Kuzma. His playoff performance, not good enough, and I thought it was abysmal and disastrous. And I don't think Kyle Kuzma right now is all that good of a player, and I think it's a better move to just kind of part ways with the guy who is clearly lacking confidence right now. Also, I know Bird's rights comes into play here. I'd let Dennis Schroeder walk. And Rob Pelinka has to be taking a big sigh of relief right now that Schroeder did not elect to sign that 4-year, $84 million contract extension, because I think that would have been incredibly prohibitive as the Lakers try to tinker with this roster and make it better around LeBron and AD. Wouldn't be able to do that with Dennis Schroeder on the books for $84 million. I also want to monitor the market for Andre Drummond. On an Instagram post, somebody said, you got to take the vet minimum. He said, you're crazy. But last year with the Cavaliers, he was making like $27, $28 million. No way in the world I'm paying Andre Drummond that. If he wants $8 to $10 million, maybe. If he wants more than that, I'm not bringing back Andre Drummond. Maybe that frees up some money as well. As for Alex Caruso, brings a lot of value to this team as a defender, as a shooter, as a guy who can create at times. We saw what he did in the NBA play-in game against Steph Curry, locking him down as that game came down to the wire. Maybe you let him go. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent, but he could realistically demand around $10 million. And also, I want to hope that a team does not blow away Talen Horton-Tucker. He's a restricted free agent, so how that works, any team across the NBA can offer him a contract. The Lakers can match that, but if the price becomes too steep, you might have to let him walk. But I'd like to bring him back because as a backup point guard, as a backup creator, as a backup guard on this team who can also kind of play maybe a point forward role, he's one of the lone young pieces who you've been able to develop over time. I'd really like to retain Talen Horton-Tucker, but if he's too much on the open market, I just don't think that you can bring him back at a large salary because the Lakers just simply cannot afford it. So that could all free up money potentially for Kyle Lowry. The Lakers are definitely faced with a lot of challenges, though, because they have negative $9 million in cap space to bring back a player who realistically could demand $20 to $30 million. But will Kyle Lowry take less money to compete for an NBA championship and join forces with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? If he wants to, I am all in if I am the Lakers. What say you? Do you want the Lakers to sign Kyle Lowry as a free agent once NBA free agency kicks off later this summer? Get into the comments and let me know. Type S for sign, type P for pass. Before we head out, make sure you're subscribed to the Lakers Report because multiple times a week, we're pushing out entertaining and informative videos like this, and we like to have a lot of fun here on the Lakers Report as well. Let this be your Lakers offseason hub for all of the latest NBA and Lakers free agency news and rumors. Also, leading up to the NBA draft, we have you covered with everything Lakers as well. We just surpassed 36,000 subscribers. That means we are on the road to 37,000 subscribers as we continue to grow. So either hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/LakersTV.